Hey YouTube, this is Kelvin. And like I said in my previous video, Fabiano Caruana and Alireza Firouzja in round 8 of the 2020 Altibox Norway chess tournament, they drew their game, so they had to go into an Armageddon tiebreak. And so these games are considerably faster than the regular round. The regular round, you probably have around 3 hours each to play the game. And then the Armageddon, white actually starts with 10 minutes, and they pretty much have 10 minutes for the entire game. Black starts with 7 minutes, and then after the 41st move, they start to get a 1 second increment. So if the game goes long enough, they'll pretty much even out. But, it just puts the pressure on. When you put pressure on into a game, there's going to be a lot more blunders. There's going to be a lot more things like overlooked. And, everybody likes watching like bullet and blitz and stuff like that. So it just kind of adds to the excitement and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and take a look and see what the result of that game was. So let's go ahead and get it playing here. All right, so we have an E4. We have C6. So we have the Caruana again. So pretty much repeating what they did last game. F3 again, the Maroxy fantasy variation. Then we have a slight difference in this game. Firouzja goes G6 and bishop to G7. So we're pushing E5 to try to blunt the bishop, and naturally you have C5 to undermine the pawn center that white has established, and to try to make it solid, you have F4. Just developing your pieces. Let's pin that knight so we can keep our queen's position. So Caruana goes. So he just takes, and we're just attacking pieces here. Now, if you notice, Firouzja has his knight on the rim there, and like I said in the previous video, when you watch the games of these high level players, they generally don't leave their knight on the rim for very long. It's usually just a temporary placement to reroute it into a central square. And so, Caruana goes ahead and, he wins a pawn real quick. And you notice that Firouzja played H5. Now, H5 is to stop. So basically, Firouzja, he puts his knight on F5. He wants his knight to stay there. And so, you always have to worry about G4. Or as black, you have to worry about G5 coming. So H5 basically stops that, and just cements his knight to, pretty much be able to live on that square. And if you notice, Caruana doesn't have a light square bishop, so he doesn't have a way to really, dislodge that piece at the moment. He'd have to try to redirect his knight around and try to dislodge it somehow. All right, so then finally we get G4 in, so we can try to kick the knight away. And it's always a good idea to put your rooks opposite the opponent's king. There's a lot of tactics and things that can come from those movements. All right, so we're just pinning the bishop, and we're taking a look at that F6 square to try to get some pieces around the black king. All right, so Firouzja backs up and tries to defend against that, so we drop the knight, but we have a little bit of compensation. I mean, black only has 2 pawns left, and we have have 5 pawns on this side, so 5 to 1. And so you definitely anytime you are calculating a piece sacrifice, when you can win a couple of pawns in exchange, then depending on the position, you can get some pretty good compensation for it. So yeah, so I mean, Caruana's playing a piece down, but as you can see, like I said, he has 4 pawns and Firouzja has only 1. So it's fairly even. It is fairly even. And so we're gonna go ahead and win the piece back here. And so we have 4 pieces to 4 pieces, but you see that Caruana has a pretty dominant position. He has 3 pawns against 1 pawn, so he's as far as the piece count goes, he's doing very well. And you see the king is in quite a bit of trouble here, and can't let that knight get in there. So we got to check, and we're gonna go ahead and pin that knight. And so if you notice, I mean, because white has the 2 rooks against the knight and the rook, trades are not gonna favor black. And so you don't want to. Anytime you're down material or you're down in exchange, you're not going to want to trade. That's literally the last thing you want to do. You don't want to, because any trades when you're down material is just going to help the opposing player. So as you can see here, if you were to trade off white's 2 pieces and black's 2 pieces, you would literally just have 3 pawns against 1 pawn, and that's something. I mean, that's just an overwhelming, you know, victory, especially because you have these pawns over here on the queen side that are just like, you know, they're just ready to get to, you know, get to the promised land. So yeah, basically these rooks are pinning this knight. Even if you were to try to move this knight over, you know, that's just a series of trades. And, you know, like I said, you have the position where you have the 3 pawns against the 1 pawn. And even though this is a pass pawn, this king will have no trouble. You know, this king will have no problem to, you know, go to any of these, you know, squares in front of the pawn and basically just blockade it. So due to the overwhelming position, Firouzja had to resign, and Fabiano Caruana went ahead and won that round. All right, so guys, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.